We need to talk about strawberry lemonade skin. If you're like me and you have two entirely different undertones in your skin and you haven't been able to find complexion products that actually work with those two undertones, then this video is for you. So let's talk about what strawberry lemonade skin actually is. Now, if you want to get a close up here, I actually have two very distinct tones within my skin. One that is neutral, which means it's more like a yellow undertone, and then also a pink undertone. It's essentially two skin undertones competing in the same space. And my problem is whenever I try to go put foundation on or try to match my foundation, I've actually noticed a lot ever since, especially I've gotten rid of my sunless tan for the summer. The foundations that I currently use are all very more neutral undertone, so they make my face look a lot more yellow than like the rest of my body. So I went on the hunt, on the prowl as the 21st century woman that I am. I went out seeking more of like undertone foundations, but unfortunately what I found was a lot of those foundations actually look very gray or dusty millennial pink on my skin. And I think the problem is I have such light skin that any little tone difference that isn't like the rest of my skin is even more noticeable. So I came across some products that I think might be a solution to my strawberry lemonade skin dilemma. One, we have a pink mixing foundation, which is actually a little bit more ultraviolet than I was expecting, but we're gonna play around with that. But also I found a pink setting powder. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the foundation I normally use, which does look a little bit too yellow tone on me, and I'm gonna use these two products to see if I can actually find some sort of solution to my like strawberry lemonade skin dilemma. And since we're all gathered here today, I did pick up a few other new items that I'm also gonna test out in this video. And as always, everything in this video is cruelty-free, vegan, and affordable. So let's get this video started. All right, hair pulled back. So the foundation I'm gonna actually be playing around with today is my favorite, which is the Matte Wet n Wild Photo Focus in Porcelain, which it does actually advertise this as a warm tone, but I've really noticed it's more of a neutral undertone because again, it pulls yellow on my skin, but maybe that just might be my skin. So we're just gonna go in and slap on a bunch of foundation here and then blendy her out. All right, so how we are going to do this so we can actually see how well both of these products perform is one half of my face, I'm gonna do a little bit of mixing with the actual foundation mixer, and then afterwards I'm gonna go ahead and just set with my normal setting powder. And on the other side, I'm not gonna use the mixer and then just set it with this pink setting powder just to see if like any of those are actually a good option on their own. Also guys, when you're working with mixers, heads up, you have to make sure that you are not mixing a water-based mixer or foundation with essentially a non-water-based mixer or foundation because they'll like kind of separate. Oil and water do not go together, and that is included in our makeup products. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take just a little bit of my foundation here and I guess put a little bit of this in it. Like again, this is like ultraviolet, so this was also marketed, it was marketed as a foundation mixer, but also like a just face paint as well, or like a colored foundation. Hopefully this doesn't stain because this is like, again, really ultraviolet, and red tone products are like the worst and most notorious for staining skin. So I guess we'll really find out here today. Okay guys, that's like, that's so pink. Let's go ahead with more foundation and see if we can, oh my God, look at this. You know what, we already need to start over. This just isn't what I was needing here today. No. I basically made a peach liquid blush on my own. Okay. I think we got a little bit more peach, which by the way, this one is from a company called Is Mine, like IS''MINE, which also I did pick up just the white mixer because I was figuring like, hey, if I'm picking something up and it's like pretty affordable, why not? Also because this is already turning out a little bit too dark for me. So we're gonna go ahead with the white here, just a smidge as well. All right, I've got this. So let's just see if this is getting me anywhere close to the color that I need. These products smell a little bit like cleaning products. All right, I've already abandoned the brush. That was not a good idea. I hate putting on foundation with a brush. Like my skin is just far too textured for that. Okay, I just tried mixing a second batch and this stuff is so strong. strong. Like, oh my gosh. I will say, however, it is actually playing really, really well with my Wet n Wild foundation, so that's pretty nice. All right, guys, I can definitely tell this side is not only just a hint lighter, but it's also definitely a little bit more rosy, almost like a little bit of peachy tone, which I guess I shouldn't be really surprised because, again, this Wet n Wild foundation does lean yellow, and yellow and pink together is very much like an orange, like peachy color, so that makes sense. But I did also blend it fully down my neck, and the Wet n Wild foundation does oxidize on me, so we are not out of the woods quite yet, even though right now it does look a lot more promising than the other side. But I'm gonna go ahead with the rest of my other base products. And I do have another complexion product that I want to test out, and this is an under eye brightener, which I normally use the Catrice potted under eye brightener, which is more of like a peachy tone, but it's definitely more of like a thicker, but into like gel kind of consistency. It blends like super, super well. I just go in with my finger and then do a little dabby under the eyes. But then I realized they had a liquid one, and it was also super affordable. So I'm like, hey, why not try it out? Maybe it'll be a little bit better than the rest. Ooh, it's like the sponge tip ones. And I have such a huge problem with under eye darkness. Ooh, I think I might be lifting what's underneath though. That's not good. Though I do have a problem with the potted one as well, lifting some product underneath, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this under my eyes and then let it set before going over top with any sort of concealer, just to like help it set down a little bit. So hopefully it doesn't like lift the concealer or anything. All right, so we're about like 3 minutes in, and I will say both of the sides are very much still a little bit tacky, which is pretty typical for the Wet n Wild foundation because they say it's a matte finish, but honestly it's definitely more of like a natural finish, like a right smack dab in between like dewy and matte. So these mixers definitely did not change the finish of the foundation, which is also pretty good because I hate when complexion products in general dry way too quickly, so much so that you can't like really work with them at all. But I also love the matte look, so it's kind of like difficult, gotta really go for more like the natural finish things than like set them the crap down. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my concealer, which I don't have a new one here. This is just the e.l.f. matte camo concealer. All right, so on this side, I'm gonna go in with my regular powder, which is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus in Translucent, the loose setting powder, which is actually the exact same as this pink one. It's just that this one's pink. And this one actually, it's not white. It's more of like a slightly luminescent, almost beigey tone with a little bit of pink in it, which it doesn't really seem to affect the undertone of my foundation or concealer. It does affect like the darkness. It does darken it a bit, which I'm not really the biggest fan of, but I haven't been able to find like a truly translucent white loose setting powder that doesn't like really make me look super pale, which is not really what I'm going for. So this is essentially the next best thing. But I'm gonna go in here and powder the actual crap out of this. And we're going in with the pink one on this side, so wish me luck. All right, thoughts on this pink powder. One, I do think it darkened my foundation the exact same as the translucent side. However, I can actually tell a definitely like rosy pink undertone going on, not like the dusty gray pink. My main problem with using those like complexion products is because it's like so gray, it almost makes my skin look a little bit like dead, like just not alive, not bright, not vibrant. But this tone of pink is actually doing a little bit something for me. But again, this foundation does continue to oxidize even after I put powder on, so we'll really have to see at the end what color we end up with. Now, as for this Catrice under eye brightener, I am not the biggest fan of it. One, I do prefer the pot style of this. The reason I wanted to try the liquid is because when I'm doing like a full beat, this also disturbs any sort of complexion products that I put underneath of it or on top of it because it's so thick and waxy based. It's more of for like a no makeup look. I normally actually use the e.l.f. liquid color corrector under my eyes, but this does not disturb the base as much as this did. Also, this is more pigmented than this one, and they're basically the same price, but e.l.f. is a little bit more accessible because you can find it in stores, whereas Catrice you can only really buy online. So it just doesn't really make sense to go with this one over this one. Now, another product that I have picked up is the LA Colors Shape It Up Sculpt and Contour Palette. And there is one particular shade in here that I actually picked this up for, which is this light grayish contour shade. I am not a liquid contour girly. That is just not my journey. It is not for me at all. I love working with powders over anything because, again, I love that matte look and I love the blendability of powders. Now, LA Colors is like a very affordable brand, and not everything there is vegan, by the way, but it's almost so affordable that I don't know if this is gonna work at all, if anything's gonna pop up. Let me actually go ahead and go in with my finger here and see if anything picks up. It's actually fairly smooth, not like breaking apart or super chalky or anything. Ooh, actually, on second thought, it is quite chalky and almost no color. Wow. I guess I'd rather there be too little of color than too much of color, because what I actually want to contour is my nose. And I have a pretty decently small nose here, so I can't really take a lot of color on my nose. I actually have a pretty small face, which is really annoying because you can't put a lot of makeup on small faces, and I love packing on pounds of makeup. But let's go ahead and see if I can get anything to show up. Okay, there's something happening here, especially considering I paid $5 for this entire palette. I mean, I can't really be that upset if literally anything is showing up. I'm actually gonna go ahead in here with this very, I think it's beige again, the little hintiest hint of color in it, just to help contour the inside here. All right, how we looking before I start blending the whole thing out? I actually think this is going fairly well. What I like to do with especially powder nose contour is just blendy, blendy, blendy. Because again, sometimes these cheaper powders do not blend at all, and that ain't gonna work for me. I'd rather have no nose contour than a very, very noticeable nose contour. Okay, how are we feeling about this little button nose situation? But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bronzy situation. This is Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzer in Ticket to Brazil. Because again, I want to go in with all the rest, mostly of my normal products, especially complexion products here, just to see exactly how both of those powders and mixers perform. And then I'm gonna go ahead here with my She Glam Moonside highlighter in Moon Rose, a little pinky highlighter type action. Now, next up, I have two of the same product, and these are the Wet n Wild Perfect Pout Lip Liner Stains. I love lip stains of any kind, though I am a very big fan of the more liquidy ones as opposed to the cream stains, or even a gel stain, or the peel stain and stuff like that. I love a liquid stain. So when I saw that Wet n Wild came out with these, I'm like, this is perfect, because I do like severely overlining my lips. Now I have two colors here because I couldn't really tell online exactly what the colors were. One is Nude Tights and then one is Spilled Wine. Let's go ahead and see what this actually looks like. Oh, it's a super thin, pointy marker. I thought it was more like a tip, like a liquid eyeliner pen, but it's definitely not. Oh my god, that is so pigmented. Do you see that? Do y'all see that? I don't know. This is a really stiff tip. I guess I'm gonna go in and try. I usually do my lips at the end, but since this is a stain, I'm gonna just try first. This is nerve-wracking. This is so pigmented. Okay. And I did go ahead and even wipe around my lips, which I don't normally, because I want to make sure this stain actually gets on my skin and not just the product on top of my skin. Guys, this is not forgiving at all. Once you put it down, it ain't wiping away. So I'm not the biggest fan of that. All right, so I did the spilled wine on the outside, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the other color on the inside here. All right, number one, both of these are incredibly dark. Look at how light that color is there. And then look at my lips. Like, it's so dark. Not what I was expecting. I'm gonna let this set, but now that I think about it, like I just finished putting this on, it's like pretty much completely dry. I didn't want like winter autumn lips. That wasn't what I was going for. But I'm gonna let this set whilst I do my eyes. And then I think I might like try and wipe it off and put some of my regular products over top and see how that works. But first impressions, the tips on these are rock freaking hard. It's harder than a felt tip marker. It's actually like scratched my skin a bit, like I can feel it. So that's not really that great. And it is one of those ones, if you can hear it, it has like a ball inside, so you have to like constantly keep shaking it to get product to go down to the actual point of the tip there. And I wonder how long these will last, mostly because back in the day, e.l.f., when it was just up and coming and everything was like $1, $2, or $3, they had like an actual marker, like felt tip marker looking lip stain, and I loved it. But because the stains in those markers have to be very liquidy, a lot of it is alcohol, so after like 2 uses, it was done because it was completely dried up because the majority of the product was alcohol and the tip was just exposed to the outside and then all the alcohol evaporated. So I'm really curious to see if these will last after like a few uses. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put my brows on and do a little eye look situation, and then I will be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. Now, I normally put on a heck ton of eyeliner, but today I want to test out 2 new mascaras. One is from Essence, and it's called Lash Without Limits, which is both extreme lengthening and volumizing. And this one is not waterproof. And the other one I have is the W7 Oh So Waterproof Mascara, which I do think this one was marketed more as a volumizing mascara. But I have been on the hunt for a new mascara, mostly because a lot of the ones I've been using are actually very crumbly on me. And I'm wondering if that's because I need to use more of a waterproof mascara that's a little bit more waxy based. But I don't really like using waterproof mascaras because I have contacts and the wax in waterproof mascaras can get on your contacts and stay on them. But I'm kind of desperate at this point because I just can't deal with the crumbliness under my eyes anymore. But we are gonna go ahead and do, again, one eye with one mascara and then the other eye with the waterproof one. This is actually the one that I love. It's a little bit tapered, but it's pretty densely packed. And this one is actually silicone as well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do probably like 2 coats of each just to get like the maximum effect and see, like, sometimes, especially if it's a drier formula, if you try to go in for like a 2nd or 3rd coat, it'll actually start crumbling itself apart, which again, not ideal. So we'll go ahead with 2 coats on each. Ooh, I'm actually really liking that. It's kind of clumping together in the perfect volumizing way where it's not like spidery or anything, but it's also lengthening, and it's actually pretty dark black as well. And I don't normally do bottom lashes, but again, for the plot here and to like really test these out, I'm gonna go ahead and do both. Actually, I really don't like putting mascara on my lower lash line because my lower lashes are just as long as my top lashes. So I don't know if you can tell. Sometimes it looks like I have smudged mascara under my eye, but I don't. It's just on my long ass lower lash line. All right, what kind of brush we got here, people? All right, this is more of like a big chunker of a natural brush tip there. So this is like huge. I have small eyes. This is like a freaking, this is like the, do you see this? It's like the length of my eye. All right, I'm not even gonna go because I want to try and salvage this look. Guys, look at my upper lash line. Look at both of these. Do you see a difference? Yeah, you're correct. This almost looks like I have nothing on it, and this in one coat, this is just one coat right now. Look at the difference of that. This is garbage. This, first of all, this is a comically huge wand. Like, I can't believe that. And this formula is almost like a little bit too liquidy to where it like won't stick on the lashes. There's no stickiness to it. So it looks like there's nothing there. But I'm gonna go ahead before one coat over here with this one. Again, guys, look at that. One coat on that. That is unfriggin' believable. That is so nice. I'm gonna go ahead here with another coat to see where we can get. All right, coat number 2 over here, guys, and one coat over here. Do you guys see a difference at all? I definitely do. This is definitely, like, it's obviously starting to clump together a little bit more because there's just more product there, but it's still like decently separated to where it's still not in that like spidery lash area. All right, guys, this is a major win, but really we'll see at the end if like anything starts crumbling apart, because that again is where I really run into a lot of issues with mascara. Now back to these lips. I'm gonna go in with like a little cotton pad and a little bit of micellar water just to see if I can get off some of this, or if it moves at all, who knows. Okay, a lot of it's coming off, but it's definitely like still on there. Okay, well obviously I can't get like the outside, otherwise it's gonna disturb the rest of the makeup, but let me give you a little bit of like bee-hole action. Do you see? It's actually like quite a bit stained still. I mean, obviously look at how dark they look. Now I'm gonna go ahead with our last makeup item here. I have a new lip liner to try, just a regular old crayon lip liner here. And this is from, again, W7. This is the Lip Twister in pink. Now, if you guys know anything about me and my struggle with lip products, it's that my lips are quite pigmented, especially because my skin is so fair, they look even more pigmented, but they're also quite pink. They're not really like brown or like a nudie rose. They're definitely like pink, but granted, like with this friggin' stain on, I don't know if that's actually gonna really be able to tell today, but let's see here. How pink is pink? Ooh, this is like peachy pink. One of like the best shades that I've been able to find is the Essence Soft and Precise Lip Pencil in my mind. The only thing I don't like about this is a wooden pencil. You have to sharpen it, annoying. Then you have to carry around a sharpener, but it is like the closest match and a pretty like accurate match at that. There's the Essence one, and then there's the W7 one. So definitely more on like the peachy nude area, but I'm gonna go in and like fill in a lot of my lip with this just to at least see the consistency of it. This is quite a dry formula, but it's not dry enough to where like once you press it, it like crumbles apart, because I've had many a lip liner be like way too dry and chalky. But I will say I prefer a lip liner that is way more dry than way more like smooth and gel-like, because with a lip liner, it's supposed to like hold everything together. But unfortunately, this color is just not for me. I don't like the peachy pinks at all, and especially over this lip liner, it looks like brown gray, which I am not a corpse, at least not yet. So I don't really need to be any amount of gray, especially on my lips. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and try and fix my lips and then put a little bit of eyeliner on, and I'll be right back to go over like our complexion here. And we are back, guys, fully loaded with our wig here. Now let's go over our complexion, shall we? I don't know if you can tell on camera, but I can definitely tell in person. On the side where we have just the pink setting powder, I can tell very clearly that it is actually a little bit too pink for the rest of my skin. I don't have any sort of foundation on my chest at all. I did bring it down my neck and try to blend it out a bit, so it doesn't look like the most atypical. However, it's definitely not a match. And in fact, it's like the same level of pinkness of most cool tone foundations that I've tried previously. It's just not as gray as those. So it's still a little bit too pinky, a little bit too red, not enough like neutral yellowness in there. But as for the side where we mixed our own here, again with our Wet n Wild regular porcelain and then the pink and white mixers here, it actually does look really good, especially considering I have like concealer on here as well. That is again our little elf camo one here, which this one is very much white pink cool tone as well. What shade is this? This is Fair Rose, so yeah, like a really light pinky shade. So that combined with our customized foundation here looks so so good. And I think that's because I laid down a base layer of just the regular foundation and then went over it with the mixed foundation. So I kind of think I have like a little bit of two-dimensionalness going on here. And as you guys saw, it took me like maybe an extra minute or two to like mix it up on my hand and then just pat it down, and then we're good to go. So it's also not like it's the most amount of time or effort in order to get like a customized foundation, though it is annoying because it definitely is going to come with a learning curve, because you guys saw the first one I did, I basically just made a liquid blush, which is definitely not the vibe I'm going for, but we did end up in a place here that didn't take the most amount of time either. And also, should my skin's a little bit problematic. I do have like acne, and I do get like red if I get really hot. So to have like a little bit of customization in there, I think it's actually a good thing overall. But as far as our strawberry lemonade skin here, I definitely think we ended up in a place that is far better than just my regular foundation on its own, which is far too yellow. And then also in a place that's not as rosy, dull, gray, dead person pink like a lot of foundations out there. So I think we ended up in a really good place. Again, I will have to see how much this oxidizes over the course of a day, or especially like filming with a lot of lights, a lot of moisture, like sweat and oils building up, because that can also oxidize foundation. But let's do a rapid fire of all the products I used in the video today. Again, love the Is Mine mixers. Just make sure if you want to use them, you have like a silicone or oil-based foundation to go with them. The Catrice Eye Brightener, I prefer the pot one, but this one is also good, especially if you're looking for a more liquid light coverage. This, again, I'm gonna have to play around with. I did like the texture of these. They're actually pretty blendable. It's just they're not super pigmented, which for a lot of people is actually good, especially if you're a beginner and you're not really looking for like a full beat or like a full sculpted look. So especially for the price of this, I'm gonna go with a win for now, but I'll have to play around with it just a little bit more. These lip liners, I don't like the applicator on these, though I do believe the product itself is really good. Aside from the fact that both of these almost look like the same dark reddish brownish tone on my lips. You guys know I like the consistency of this lip liner, just not my color. And then as for these, this is a clownishly large wand. I don't know who's using this. Even if you have like huge eyes, you still want to like be able to get in the corners there. So I don't know who's using that. And on top of that, the formula was a little bit too liquidy to actually show up. However, this, aside from our mixers, guys, this is the all-star hero product of this video. Again, it's the Essence Lash Without Limits mascara. This is wonderful. But again, I will have to see if it does a little bit of a crumbly action. I will say I have been like playing around with my eyes getting this wig on, and there is no crumbliness to be seen under here. So I think we might have a winner, but I'll have to give you an update a little bit later. So guys, I definitely think we solved the conundrum of the strawberry lemonade skin situation in this video. If you also suffer from strawberry lemonade skin, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, if you have any questions about any of the products in today's video, I can also answer them in the comments below. And with that, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!